Hello, and welcome back to yet another reading. My name is Nicole, for those of you who are new, and I like to come on here once a week, every Sunday, and share messages of guidance, some insight, information that has been channeled. And I like to use the cards just to help me ground my thoughts and ground my energy, as I always have so many things moving through my mind. And so if you have stumbled across this video, then it means that there is most likely a message in this video for you. And because I am reading here for the collective, these are general messages. Everyone is at a different stage within their journey of awakening and transformation. And so some of these messages might not resonate with you. And so I just ask you to take what resonates, and whatever doesn't feel right for you, at the end of the day, you know yourself best. And so you will know what is for you and what is not for you. So yes, just to remind you that these readings are timeless, these messages are timeless, but at the time of this particular reading, there has been quite an intensive week energetically, with many sort of portals happening energetically. So we had the 222 portal as we celebrated the 22nd of the 2nd earlier this week, but also we had the new moon in Pisces. And so a lot of interesting energies here, and I don't know how you guys out there have been feeling and what has been your reality this week, what you've been feeling emotionally, mentally, physically. As for me, I have been feeling all sorts of things, to be very honest. A lot of, the week sort of, it kind of went uphill, if I could be very honest. The week started off with just a lot of anxiety and stress and a lot of annoyance. And I'm somebody who spends a lot of time just, everyone's journey of awakening has been different. And really, when I talk about the awakening journey, it's also synonymous with the journey of developing your awareness, because some of us have awareness and some of us don't have awareness. Some of us are not necessarily paying attention to what it is that we are thinking and doing, and how we are behaving. And so my journey has really been through my body, because for many years I struggled with my weight, I struggled with my self-esteem, I struggled with my body image. I really absolutely used to hate myself and loathe myself, and just anyways, long story. But so my journey has really been about feeling all the different parts of my body and integrating all the different parts of my body. And so this week, as I was paying attention, as I usually do, to what was going on, the week started off with a lot of anxiety, a lot of just interesting sensations. And not that there was really anything going on in my external reality, but I guess there was a lot of things that were needing to be released as the new moon was preparing to come through towards the end of this week. And so as the week went on, things got better, more things started to come into my awareness. The energies started to gain awareness as to where these energies were coming from and what it was that I was being called to release and what I was being called to let go of. And now towards the end of the week ended, quite relaxed and quite, just taking it sort of easy, doing a lot of internal work, a lot of journaling and scripting to identify what it is that I was wanting to get rid of and what it is that I want to call in with this new cycle that is happening with this new moon in Pisces that we celebrated. So I would love to hear from you as to how you've been feeling emotionally, if there's been a lot of stuff coming up for you, things that you have been called perhaps to pay attention to, things that you maybe thought that you had dealt with, but yet still keep coming back up. It's always just interesting to hear where everybody is on their own journey and what it is that they are experiencing, so we can, just identify if there are any similarities amongst us. So, yes, really with the 222 portal, so interesting, because 2 is all about togetherness. We live in a world that is very individualistic, where we have been taught to be very self-serving. And I've said in my previous videos that we're coming to a point where it is important to be selfish because too many of us have been tapping into the sort of hive mentality and not really being able to think for ourselves. But as we are now in the age of Aquarius, it is all about using our higher consciousness to do things that benefit the collective at large rather than only working on benefiting ourselves and our own needs. And so all of that too from the 222 portal is about working through collaboration, which is also what Aquarius is about. It is about working as a collective. And as I say a lot through my my TikTok videos, please feel free to go and check more insights there. I post there on a daily basis. But really what I'm constantly sharing is all the ways in which we are not free. And we are essentially living in a prison, and this prison is not, we're not contained by bars and we're not in a cage as in a prison cell, but we are in a prison because of our mental perspectives and our emotions, which we seem to not be in control of. And so what we are being called for is to start becoming aware of all these limiting beliefs and these perspectives that are keeping us caged, that are keeping us small, that are keeping us controlled because we don't really understand who it is that we are. And this is why the journey of awareness, of awakening, because this is what separates human beings from animals, is that we are not only operating from our instincts, but because we have consciousness, we have the ability to know that we are operating from our instincts. And so we can move into our prefrontal cortex, which is where we actually have which is connected to our free will, because we have the ability to decide and choose. And so if we are not operating out of awareness, then we are totally unaware of what it is that we are doing a majority of the time. And so with this two energy, it's also about the fact that the way the powers that are falling, the powers that were, have kept us in control for so long is by is all these divide and conquer tactics that make us fight one another as opposed to fighting the system, which is what oppresses us. And so rather than policing one another, because this is what is happening, we as human beings are all being oppressed, we are all being controlled, and our free will is really being taken away from us. And so what we need to ensure that we are not doing is that we are not taking the free will away from other people, because we have been programmed to believe that the only way that we can have is by taking from others. And that is because we live in a world where we have constantly been building this lack mentality, thinking, oh, well, if I have, then, or if others don't have, then I will have, or if I have to take away from others because we can't possibly all have. And that simply isn't true, because we are living in a world where there is more than enough. It is simply that we have to reprogram ourselves, reprogram our beliefs, reprogram our minds, just reprogram the general program that is running through our subconscious mind to help us remember that we can live from a place of abundance, because the universe and the world really does contribute and give us access to everything that we need. But because our programming is telling us that that is not true, then we are looking at the world through a lens of those biases. We cannot see the abundance, we cannot see the opportunities, because we are operating from a place of lack. And this is unfortunately just where most human beings are, and it's not your fault. And it is actually possible to reprogram these beliefs, but first you have to build that awareness. And so that's really, excuse me, that's really what this new moon in Pisces was bringing, because Pisces, if we look at astrology, Pisces dominates the unseen realms. Pisces is really connected to the spiritual aspects of ourselves, the metaphysical aspects of ourselves. So all the things that dominate us, that we can't see, so our thoughts, our emotions, our beliefs, all of these are connected to Pisces. Especially the subconscious is also very much connected to Pisces. And so with this new moon in Pisces, what is the new moon? The new moon is about new cycles, new beginnings. So 2 weeks ago, we had the full moon in Leo, where the full moon is all about closing out cycles, whereas the new moon is about starting a new cycle, the new moon cycle that we are in. and we will soon be having eclipses. So whenever we have eclipses, that's also very powerful energy, very deep shifts that happen within the deep subconscious. And so with that 222 portal and the new moon in Pisces, is we are starting to awaken to the non-tangible parts of ourselves. We are starting to become more aware. We are starting to go more inwards, because for too long humanity has focused so much on paying attention to everything that is going on in our external world, forgetting that really what controls and dominates our world, both internal and external, really comes from the inside. And that's why I really love the saying mind over matter, because it really is the mind that controls the matter of our physical body. So just a little bit of context. Let's see what messages the cards have to show for us. So first card I pulled was from the Gateway of Light activation, asking what portals have been activated for the collective with the energies that have come in from the new moon and that 222 portal. And so the first card here we have is Orion activation, supernova, recreation, renewal, rebirthed by light. Yes, something else to add before I show you the card is that there were many planets that were actually present in the sign of Pisces. And so in astrology, we call this a stellium, when many planets are present within an astrological sign. And it just means that there is a lot of potent energy that is happening when many planets find themselves in one sign. And so also a lot of planets have been in oh gosh, the word has in not regression, I don't want to say regression, in retrograde, thank you. And so when a planet is in retrograde, is that it seems that it is moving backwards, but that's not really it. We're looking at the energies of these things, and the energies of a planet when they are in retrograde is about revisiting, reprogramming, a lot of rewriting, re-examining. And this just gives us the time to go inwards. When the planets are in retrograde, there's a lot of internal time, a lot of going inwards in order to be able to look at what our internal landscape is like, so that once the planets go back into a forward motion, then we can sort of rewrite and rescript. So interesting that this is the opening of a portal, and the portal that you are walking through with this Orion activation is those energies of rebirth, recreation, renewal. So a lot of energies, big changes coming in, and I can certainly say that I felt this personally this week, that I felt massive internal shifts that were happening. It felt like once again we had perhaps changed timelines, and maybe this is not for everyone out there, but at least for myself I can say that I definitely felt a timeline shift, and definitely felt like a lot of programs, a lot of patterns within myself that I have been working on for ages really came into a point of completion. Because when we work on ourselves, there really are layers to all of these things, and it can be really quite intense, because it can feel like we're working on something and then we're like, okay, yeah, I've dealt with this, and then we come back and new energies come into our lives, and it's just kind of like, oh my gosh, how am I here again? Because there really are layers. Because at this time we are releasing a lot, not just from this timeline, but we are also releasing from generations, things that have been held in our cells from generations of our families, because I think they say it's up to 17, or is it 27 generations worth of trauma that we hold within ourselves. So you are not only releasing for yourselves, but you are also releasing from your past ancestors and for future generations to come. So everyone who is on this planet at this time and who is doing this work on themselves, there are big changes that are happening as a result of doing this work. And so it can feel intense, but I assure you that even though these things can feel really intense, it is always preparing you, especially when there is something really intense happening, it is preparing you to shift into something much higher. So really, I guess that this first card is really just here to highlight, trust the process. And I've always found that when there is a lot of feeling, and I don't know what that feeling can be different for everyone. One of the feelings that I feel most often is frustration and rage, and I guess that's all of the stuff that I still have suppressed from all the shit that happened within, I guess, my generational lineage. So I found that generally when we're feeling a lot of those things, it's a lot of these things are coming to the surface so that they can actually be released and that we can move into the higher realms. So the next card that we have here is New Moon in Gemini. Think it through. So yes, as we have this recreation, renewal, this rebirthing by light, the next card here is asking you, take a moment to think it through. Take a moment to think about what shifts have happened in your life. Because you see, the thing is that if we don't take the time to check in with ourselves and look back and actually take the time to sit with ourselves and look at all the changes that have happened in our lives, it's very easy for us to miss them, because when we're working with energetics, it's very subtle. And as you are shifting from one identity into another, because that is what happened, that's what's happening, is that when we're working with energy through our thoughts and our emotions and our beliefs, this is energetic work. And as we are shifting all of these things, we are changing our identity. But if we don't stop to look back and say, okay, hang on, how am I different today than who I was a few months ago, a few weeks ago, a few years ago, then we can totally miss all the incredible work that we have actually accomplished. And this is why I find journaling to be such a powerful tool, because you can actually go and look back and think about all the things that you were thinking and feeling all that time ago. So just take a moment to really think through all the incredible changes that have happened in your life, and think especially about all the really difficult moments in your life, and think about what happened after those difficult moments happened, because we always tend to focus on we always remember the bad bits, but generally the bad bits are followed by good bits, but we often forget the good bits because, well, the bad bits are so much more powerful than the good bits, because, well, they don't feel good, they don't make us feel good when we're in our bodies. So just take a minute to think it through, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Please share with me some of the things that you have noticed about shifts that you have experienced in the past few weeks, months, or years. So the next card we have is New Moon in Leo. Shine. Yes, and as I said, 2 weeks ago we had the full moon in Leo, and Leo is the planet that dominates Leo is the sun. And as I say, if we look through ancient times, the worship of the sun was always what people were worshiping the most, because the sun is literally what gives us energy. It's what allows everything on this planet to grow. And so really it's, when the sun hits you, this is when you shine. So what is it that you are finally wanting to share? What is it that you are finally wanting to shine through? Because so many of us in our smallness have dimmed our light to fit in because of trauma and because of challenges that we experienced that led to negative thinking and negative thoughts and coping mechanisms that helped us back then but maybe are no longer serving us at this moment. And so when we start to work on the energetics of all of these things, then we feel more comfortable showing who we really are. We feel more comfortable expressing ourselves, expressing our authenticity, and showing who we really are, because we are all unique and we all came here to share our unique gifts and our unique traits. Because at the end of the day, when you break things down and you look at things from an energetic perspective and understand that everything just has a frequency, and that this is something that I had to do, is when I started looking at everything as a frequency as opposed to things being good or bad, then it helped me to not take things so personally, because nothing is really personal. At the end of the day, we are here in order to grow and to expand. And so when we experience challenges, it's because we are being given an opportunity to grow and to expand and to discover parts of ourselves that we wouldn't be able to experience when life is great. We don't know what we're really capable of. It isn't until we're kind of backed into a corner and that we're pushed that sometimes we have the ability to show ourselves just how resilient and how incredible that we are. So all those challenges that you experience in your life, don't take them personally. Realize that this is actually a gift. And when you start looking at this through that perspective, realizing that the universe is really out there to help you to grow and to expand and to help you experience parts of yourself that you didn't even know existed, then you just look at things in terms of energy and, see, okay, that's an energy that makes me feel good. That's an energy that makes me feel bad. But why does that energy make me feel bad? Everything can be used to educate yourself. The thing is, you have to start questioning more deeply. So the next card we have is New Moon in Virgo. Trust all will be well. Yes, everything is working out for us. We are now on the timeline of disclosure. I know that when we look at the world and everything that is happening right now, there is so much chaos and it can feel so overwhelming. But really, why is there chaos? Well, the reason that there is chaos is because for so long, everyone was running on the same narrative. And this is why 2020 really changed everything. Because prior to 2020, because really the whole world stopped. And the thing is like when you're always on the hamster wheel of go, 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 it isn't until you take a moment to stop that you can actually see what's been going on. Because when you're in it and you're just going, 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 it's hard to actually really see what it is that you're engaging with. But because we all had the opportunity to stop and pause, and we had a moment to not be in all that stress, that we had a moment to actually, and of course not everybody took the moment to stop and reflect, but I think many people who previously weren't doing that did, because they had a moment to just breathe. And so many people were finally able to see that something was not quite right, and actually something has not been quite right for a very, very long time. But because we were all in that rat race of go, go, go on the survival wheel, essentially, we couldn't see everything had been normalized. We've been normalized into thinking that suffering is normal, and it really, really isn't, because we didn't come here to suffer. And when we look to ancient times, there was a time where people were not suffering the way we are today. And so we've really started to believe that suffering is in line with the human experience. But what if I told you that that is part of the engineering that has been happening on this planet for thousands of years, that has made us think that we all came here to suffer? But that's not true. We came here to grow and to expand. And not to say that we won't suffer, because sometimes we do need those challenging moments. But those challenging moments, they don't cause suffering, maybe they cause uncomfortability. But eventually we can, we can use that discomfort as a diving board, where we can take the suffering and jump off into something new, realizing we don't want to stay here. Let's use this pain and do something better. And this is what we see artists doing all the time. They use their emotional suffering to write beautiful music, for example. And so when we look at what is happening in the world, it's the reason that there is so much chaos today is because people are no longer all buying into the same narrative. People are now questioning the narratives, and this is why for a long time those who questioned the narratives were termed conspiracy theorists. But really, I prefer to use the word fact checkers, because these were people who were actually looking further than what was being told and not just accepting at face value. And this is the problem, is this is the programming that has been done for a long time, is that we have become so trusting of people who are put in positions of power, especially the government, because there are also so many people within these globalist organizations, the UN, the IMF, the WEF, World Economic Forum, who were not elected, who are out here dictating the rules of society, and no one really fucking cares what they have to say. But because everyone is so scared and everyone is in the state of survival that has been engineered, that has been created on purpose through manipulating our thoughts and our emotions and our beliefs, that we have given all of our power away to these people, thinking that they will always have our best interest at heart. But I think it's safe to say, when we look around us, that this simply isn't true. So the people who want to continue believing that all these people are having our best interest at heart, and let's not forget that, capitalism is just another giant that is controlling us today. And this is how money controls us. It's because we all seem to have embraced capitalism, but capitalism is not serving us in the least bit. The fact that we are raping our earth, raping our home of all of her resources in the name of creating more money that is paper, money that isn't even real. So all of this needs to happen in order for us to wake up out of this slumber, out of this illusion of us thinking that all of these things are good for us when they really aren't. We have to start moving away from this controlled narrative that is not serving our greatest evolution. In fact, this narrative is taking us away from evolution and even bringing us more towards extinction, because of the fact that we are moving towards a transhumanism agenda. And people can say that I'm crazy, but you can go and do your own research. There are policies that were put in place. There has been so much research and development being done by corporations. And a lot of the time, the research and development that is done by corporations that serve you and me, a lot of the time they will create things for the military that is first used by the military, and that is then infiltrated into society gradually without us really knowing what is the greatest power behind these things that we are now starting to use. So we have to question everything. We cannot just continue taking everything at face value and thinking that those people in the highest places of power are doing these things to serve us. So everything that is happening right now is shaking our foundation so that we wake up and realize that the direction that these governments and these globalist organizations are leading us astray. They are not leading us in a direction that is going to favorably develop the evolution of humanity. But again, I want to reiterate, all of this needs to happen for people to wake up. And yes, there is a lot of doom and gloom if we look out there, but if you rise up and look at things from a much higher perspective, you will understand that all of this is playing out for us. But we also have to remember that we can either make this more difficult on ourselves or we can make this easier on ourselves depending on the way that we behave. So if we move through this with love and compassion for one another, knowing that every single human being on this planet, other than a small minority, have been part of this manipulation and control. And at the end of the day, we all want the same things. We just want freedom. We want freedom to express ourselves, to be who we really are, to experience the things that we desire most, which are peace and joy and happiness and love and success in whatever way that means to you, because it isn't only about money. There are so many people out there that have millions and even billions who are not happy, because we have been continued to they keep, the message that has been reiterated over and over again, which is why the collective has started believing this, that we always have to look for things outside of us. But really what we need to do is we need to go inside. We need to learn about who we really are by understanding our beliefs, the ones that sit deep within our subconscious, paying attention to our emotions, paying attention to our thoughts, paying attention to our behaviors, because that is really where the truth lies. So again, trust that all will be well, because it will be. But one thing that we can do to make this easier for ourselves is let us not go out there and start policing one another, but understand that everything that you are feeling, everyone out there is feeling the same thing. So let us not make it harder on each other. Let us make it easier and understand that we are all going in the same direction. We are fighting for either the evolution of humanity or we are moving towards the destruction of humanity. So it is your choice to decide which trajectory you want to be on. So the next card we have is Snake, Shed Old Skin. This is what is happening. This is what I've been saying. And just before I show you the card here, again, to reiterate that if we look at the Chinese astrology, 2025 is the year of the snake. And so, yes, just like so many people have a negative connotation of the snake, but when we look through ancient scriptures, no matter which ancient belief system you're looking at, the snake is always present, whether we look at the snake. But again, the snake has always been misinterpreted, especially, I talk a lot about Christianity because I guess this is the religion I know the most, and not that I am religious, but there are certain stories within our religious stories that are very helpful to understand for our own development. And so the snake, in Christianity, they said that the snake was there to to trick us. But that's not true. We have been living in an illusion for so long that the snake actually came to be like, hey, shall I give you some information and let you know that you are actually living in a world of illusion, so that you can actually wake up and take your power back. And so this is why they talk about the Kundalini energy within the Vedic teachings, within the yogic teachings. They talk about the Kundalini energy, which is a serpent, the energy that sits at the base. This is where we talk about the chakras, where it sits within your lower chakras, which is more connected to your material self. And the more that you let this energy awaken and move up through your chakras, it is awakening through your consciousness. So you are less in your less in your materialistic aspects. As you move up towards the heart, you open up to the higher realms, and then you start to move up towards the pineal gland or the first eye, so that you can open yourself up to the non-tangible realms, to the divine realms, and to know and operate both through the divinity and the material, which is connected through the central sun, which is your heart. Because even if we look through our solar system, what most people forget is that Earth actually sits at the center of our solar system, in that the Earth can be recognized as the heart chakra of our solar system. And this is why the Earth is so important, because we here on this planet as human beings, we can be extremely demonic, but we can also be extremely loving. We have both polarities within us. Are we going to go fully towards the darkness, or are we going to go towards the light? But it is understanding that we need to use both sides of the spectrum to operate from a place of balance. But we need both sides. We need the darkness and we need the light. Just like we cannot always turn the other cheek. I'm sorry, but that's totally bullshit. If somebody comes and attacks you, you're not going to turn the other cheek and say, yes, beat me. No, you're going to fight back. And that is why we need to have the darkness inside of us. But you have the light on, understanding, okay, the best example is, for example, martial arts masters. These people are walking weapons. And this is why part of the martial arts training is a lot of mindfulness, because they understand that they can literally kill with their bodies. And so they don't want to be in their ego so that someone says something and then they fly off the handle and then beat that person to a pulp. No, what they're going to do is they're going to defend themselves, and they understand that there is a limit. Yes, they can maybe beat that person up to a certain extent, but they're not going to kill them, because they understand there is no point in me killing this person. There will be retribution if I do that. So it's about understanding, when we control our emotions, then situations don't get the better of us. But so here with the snake, we are shedding old skin. We are shedding old beliefs that no longer serve us. We are shedding emotions that maybe have been the energy of negative emotions that have been suppressed within us for years and years and years. It's time to let go of these things, because when we hold all that suppressed energy within us, we don't realize how much it's affecting us. It's affecting the way we live. It's affecting the way we feel. It's affecting the way we see. It's affecting our relationships. It's affecting our success. It's affecting our ability to be happy. So all of these things affect us. And this is why energetic practices are so important, because they are about understanding the non-tangible parts of ourselves, which are impacting the tangible parts of ourselves all the time, whether we are aware of it or not. So if we look on a higher level, everything that is happening outside at this moment is helping us to shed these old skins. It's helping us to see, okay, these are still beliefs, these are still programs that I have running inside of me, but they are no longer relevant. They are no longer, I don't need to carry them anymore, because they are not helping me get to wherever it is that I need to go. So let me know if this is resonating with you. I would really love to hear if you are on these same energies and if this is making sense. So the next card we have here is She-Wolf, Unleash the Wild Within. Yes. And this is why we're seeing a rise of the feminine, a rise of women. It is incredible to see how so many women are taking their power back. And one of the main ways in which I see this happening is in the man-woman relationship, where women are no longer willing to accept the nonsense that men have been giving. And it's interesting, because as women we're always complaining about the men, but we also have to take responsibility. The men are behaving the way they are behaving because of the way we are behaving. Essentially, what has happened over the rise of, I don't know how many years, and the rise of feminism, which I'm sorry to say is total fucking bullshit, because with the rise of feminism, we have been as women fighting for equal rights, but our rights were never equal to begin with because our our roles are inherently different. What women do, we work more, men work in the material realm, women work in the non-physical realm. So what women do is we can take energy and we can amplify it. We can make it grow. So whatever a man gives us, we can take the energy of that and we can expand it, we can amplify it. So when the whole feminist movement came in and saying, oh, we want equal rights and equal pay and all of that thing, is that all these abilities, all these inherent gifts that we were recognized for before, that were non-tangible, slowly started to become eroded, slowly started to become forgotten, where we now wanted to start competing with men on their level. And yet we're not supposed to compete with men on their level because we each have our own roles. And so essentially what happened since the rise of feminism is that women wanted to become more like men. And that is just what is happening. And I'm talking again about energy. Women started behaving like men. Women wanted to, and not to say that this was wrong, because there are so many factors that play in, but I'm just explaining what has happened on the energetics of things. And so women started behaving more and men more like men energetically, in that they started becoming leaders and they started providing for themselves and they started working for themselves and all of these things, so that we no longer left a place for men. And this is why there are so many men out there who are confused about their sexual orientation. It's because women basically took over their roles. And so maybe these men were attracted to women before, but because the women started being more and more manly, then the men started being like, oh, well, okay, well, if the women are behaving like men, well, maybe I'll just prefer men. And so this is why there's so much confusion in the world today. It's because women have forgotten their role. Women have forgotten the power of what it is that they do in the energetic realms. And so the things that women can do, men cannot do. And there are things that men can do that women can't do and we're not supposed to do. And just because we can do them doesn't mean that we're supposed to do them. And so this is where the more women come back into their feminine energy, and not to say that you need to completely give up your independence. That's not at all what I'm saying. But the more you come back to your feminine energy and understand that the man is here to serve you. And again, I am saying this, that when everything is working from a conscious level and everyone is operating from a high level of consciousness, these things balance out naturally. And I'm not saying serve as in, get down on all fours and serve. That's not at all what I'm saying. But the man is there to serve. The woman receives messages from the higher realm. She shares them with the man. The man takes action on them in the physical realm. This is the dynamic of man-woman relationship on the energetic side of things. And so right now, now it is time for women to unleash the wild within, but also with men, because there is a wildness that exists within each and every one of us. We have all become slaves to the system, but as I keep saying, it is time to no longer comply, because the system can only continue to operate if we comply with the rules. But if we simply say, no, I'm not going to do that, then it can't happen. And people can say, oh yeah, but that's easier said than done. I'm sorry, but that's not true, because again, I'm talking about the energetics of things. The easiest example is, the whole jab during COVID and all of that stuff, where there was a lot of divide for those who were going to get it and those who weren't. And it was never by law. Yes, they made it very difficult, but there was never any laws. They were mandatory, but it was not by law. And a lot of people said no. A lot of people just simply said, I am not going to do this. And because of those people who stood in the energy of no, a lot of things shifted. And now a lot of information is coming out about how dangerous these things actually were. And again, I'm not here to put fear into anyone. I'm simply here to give you information and help you look at things from a different perspective, so that you can go out there and you can make your own decision for yourself. But it is important to have awareness and to have more information than less information, so that you can actually make an informed decision about what it is that you want to do with your energy and your life. So the next card we have is Air Guardian. Shift your perception. Yes, everything that is happening in the world right now is giving you the opportunity to shift your perception and look at the world through a different lens. Not the lens that you have been programmed to look at the world through, but to look at the world through your own lens, through your own perspective, through the understanding that you did not come here to be a slave and to suffer. You came here to experience freedom. You came here to experience the fullest expression of who you truly are. You came here to know yourself better than ever before and to help this world improve. Because we all have a role to play in this world, and we all have a role in shifting the trajectory of this planet. So don't think that you are small, don't think that you are irrelevant, don't think that you don't matter, because your energy matters more than you think. So the next card we have here is Ceres, Nature. So this was pulling from the Star Codes Astro Oracle. So the numerology we have here is an 11. An 11 being the number of the High Priestess in the tarot, but also the number of awakening, but also the number of intuition. So I'm actually feeling called to read from the book for you. So what does it say? So Ceres is a dwarf planet between Mars and Jupiter, named after Ceres, Roman goddess of the harvest, food, earthy fertility, and mother of Proserpina, goddess of the spring. When Pluto kidnapped Proserpina and took her to the underworld to be his queen, Ceres threatened to starve the world until she was returned. Ceres signifies our relationship to food, for better or worse, cultivation, and the safety or loss of a child. Ceres' ancient rites initiated people into the secrets of death and rebirth through the symbolic harvest. Cut the heads off grain with scythe, bury them, and new life arises. Mother and be mothered. Nurture and cultivate that which is growing, whether it's the harvest from the earth, the child from the womb, or the art from the artist. Real love can mean tough love, doing what's best for you, for your beloved, even if they hate you for it. Love and nurture your own body with healthy whole foods. Take them as communion with the organic world. Feel the earth beneath you, holding you, loving you through hard times. Let this abundance flow through you to others. Yes, absolutely. This makes me want to talk about so many things, as I was saying earlier, about the challenges that we are experiencing right now. Again, sometimes we need tough love. Think about it with children. Sometimes we have to, when we are teaching children important lessons, sometimes we have to be tough and the kid is going to cry. And, not that we're trying to make the kid cry, but the kid will cry because that's their natural reaction to whatever it is that they are learning. And it's okay. This is how we have to learn. Sometimes we have to burn ourselves in order to understand that the stove is hot and we shouldn't be touching the stove. So we need this tough love, and this is what is happening now. The universe is giving us this tough love because we as her children have gone off too far off the rails, and we need to be reined back in. We need to be told, hey, you're going too far. You need to stop, and you need to take a minute to look at what you're doing and decide, is this really the way you want to go through? And if it is, then maybe there's going to be a beating or two so that you can actually make the right decision. And so we are being mothered, but it's also about loving and nurturing yourself. A big part of the awakening journey, it's difficult. And so the more you feed yourselves healthy, wholesome foods, this will also help you, because most people don't realize how the foods that you are eating are affecting your emotions, and they are also affecting your mental state. So eating healthy, wholesome foods, stay away from all the processed shit. Eat as much raw fruits and vegetables as you can. Eat a lot of live foods. Eat a lot of leafy greens, eat a lot of indigenous food, stay away from the processed stuff, because we don't realize how the chemicals in all those processed foods are affecting our endocrine system, our hormonal system, our nervous system. They are affecting us in ways that are deeper than you can probably understand. So a big way that you can be nurturing yourself is also making sure that you are loving yourself, but also eating healthily. Interesting. The next card we have here is another 11 with Aquarius collaborate. Remember, we are in the age of Aquarius. So again, the 11 brings down to a 2. We have the 222 portal. So again, Pisces is also 2 fish. So again, it's a lot of collaboration energy. It is time that we work with each other. There has been too much separation. There has been too much me. Not forgetting, not remembering that we are part of a collective. Yes, it's important to have your own individual experience, but have your own individual experience, remembering that you are part of a larger group. And the more you make the experience externally worse for others, the more you're making it worse for yourself. So the sooner we realize that we are all here to improve our own individual, but we should not be infringing on other people's experiences and on other people's free wills, then the experience that we will have on this planet is going to be very, very different. So the next card we have here is North Node. Numerology is 7. The message here is future. Yes, so 7 is a very spiritual number. We see this number coming back a lot of the time, the 7 chakras, the 7 main planets, the 7 days of the week. So this number keeps coming back. It's also talked a lot about in the Bible, the 7 trumpets, the 7, I don't know what. But anyways, it comes back quite often. You can go and do your own research. The North Nodes in astrology represent the North Star, essentially. You know, when I look at astrology, I look at it from a soul level. I look at it as to, why did our soul come here? Because we, you know, you might not believe in reincarnation, but I do. And so our soul actually chooses to be here because our soul chooses to come and experience certain things. It comes to learn certain things. It comes to experience certain things. And so when we look in our astrological chart towards our North Node, it shows us the main lessons essentially that we are here to learn. So right now, you know, it's interesting because part of the alignments with this new moon in Pisces, the North Nodes were also, the collective North Nodes were present in Pisces, along with Jupiter, which is all about expansion, and Saturn, which is all about limitations. So this is why we're feeling a lot of, you know, 1 step forward, 3 steps back. It's because we're being made sure, because Jupiter is very expansive, and anything we do under Jupiter will expand significantly. But with Saturn's present there, we're being given the opportunity to not go too far off in the wrong direction. We can look at Saturn as being sort of a boundary. So it's like when you're coloring, you know, you can color within the lines of this boundary, because if you start coloring outside, then maybe you will lose track of what the image is actually supposed to be. So the North Node is our future. Right now, we are being given the opportunity to determine what is the future that we want to experience individually that will also have an impact on the collective. So right now, the most powerful thing that you can be doing, because people often forget that their energy is like a battery activating this world in which we live, and this is why there is so much harvesting of energy that happens. But I will go into that into another video. If you're interested in that, you can let me know in the comments down below. But essentially, this card, what you can do is use your focus, rather than worrying about all the negative things that could be happening or all the negative things that are happening. Keep holding the vision, become so clear of what it is that you want to experience, what it is that you want to experience in your life, what is it that you want to experience in your future, what is it that you want to experience for the rest of your life, both individually and collectively, and hold that vision. And it might be as simple as, I just want to experience more happiness. Hold the vision of you being happy. What does it look like when you are in that happiness? What does it feel like? Bring in all the senses. Can you smell something that makes you happy? You know, what are you touching? You know, for me, when I love to do my manifestations, a lot of the time I'll really focus on what I'm wearing, because the clothes that I wear will really make me feel a certain way. So you can go and do the same thing. Just play a game. You know, it's like when we're children, we do so much with our imagination. And this is why actually daydreaming is a very powerful tool of manifestation. When you just daydream what it is that you want to manifest and keep holding that vision, but at the same time, make sure that you're working on reprogramming your subconscious beliefs, because that is what is stopping you from manifesting whatever it is that you truly desire. So the next card we have here is Akasha. Your guidance is divinely guided. This is where meditation is so, so powerful. When you stay in that sort of meditative state, that trance-like state of just holding the vision of whatever it is that you want to experience, whatever brings you joy, whatever brings you success, whatever it is that you want to live in your life, you know, when you stay in that state of being, what happens is that you will receive messages. You will receive messages from the Akashic records, which will help you understand who you are, the best moves that you should take for yourself, because really deep down, you know, there is nothing in this message that I'm telling you that you don't already know. This is just a confirmation for information that you already know. It is about, I am just here to help you remember that you need to trust yourself, because you know better than anybody else out there what is good for you. And last but not least, we have Council of Light, divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. Yes, there is help for you. Ask for it and you shall receive. Whoever it is that you commune with, the Most High, Allah, God, the fairies, the angels, your ancestors, it doesn't really matter. Just know that there is help out there for you. And the more that you trust in it, the more you believe in it, the more you can open up to actually receive the help and guidance that is wanting to come through to you, that is available to you only if you allow it in. So another long message here, but I certainly hope that these messages will help you on your journey. Share the message with whoever you feel might resonate with it. Like the video if you resonated with this message, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye for now.